Well, coming up on Monday, the Global Harmony Symphony is going to be having just a wonderful event that is going to be happening at the Laguna Hills Community Center, and you're all invited to go. It is free, and Valerie, of course we know Valerie Geller, she is the artistic director of the Global Harmony Symphony. She's going to be there. She's not with us right now. Well, she is. She's sitting back over there. But today we have on a couple guests who are going to be involved with that. And I'd like to welcome first who's going to be the guest conductor there, Daniel G. Nice to meet you, sir. It's great to have you here. Yeah. And we have over there Ken Lee. You are going to be playing the French horn. Yes. And I know you also conduct as well. Yes. So great to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
Let's first for you, Daniel. We were talking, a bit before. Tell us about your background.
Sure. Let's see. I was a SoCal native. I was born near Pasadena area. Grew up in Temple City, and musically speaking, was raised in the public school system. I started nothing super early, but I started in 4th grade at Temple City School District. Richard Meyer was my teacher, and just through being exposed to some really great teaching and great colleagues and great teachers, started down this path that now is being a conductor and composing as well, so it's been great.
So what instruments did you start with?
I started playing cello
in
4th grade and played that through school, and eventually started getting more involved with composing and conducting in high school, got some opportunities to do that as well, and eventually majored in music for undergrad.
Let me ask you something, and I don't know if I've ever asked Valerie this, but what was the progression from sort of, being a musician? I mean, you're still a musician, but moving on to a conductor. Are there certain instruments you need to know and played yourself? Because as a conductor, you've got to know all of them.
Yeah, I know, it's a great question. I think each conductor comes to that position through a variety of experiences and backgrounds, and Ken, you could probably speak to this as well.
Yeah, I mean, I always find that interesting.
Yeah, so for me, I grew up as a cellist, but started doing composing, and in a way, the conducting came about because I needed to lead the group that was playing or singing my music. And so that's kind of how the conducting came about. Again, Richard Meyer, being my elementary school teacher, gave us opportunities to conduct pieces in our elementary school orchestra. It was great. He just kind of taught us the pattern, and probably the piece didn't really need a conductor, but he gave us the opportunity to be in front of a group, which was wonderful. So there was those opportunities, composition, but eventually started doing it a lot more.
Yeah, but again, as a composer and a conductor, you've got to know all the instruments, right, Ken?
Yes. When you're a music major in college, you need to take all of the different instruments, so you get experience playing woodwind instruments, string instruments, brass instruments, percussion, so that you get the basics of how to begin to play that instrument. And so it's quite involved, like you say. You have to know everything, at least be able to say, I want this kind of a tone, or I want this kind of an attack, or some kind of a musical aspect to the music.
And are there certain instruments, when you went through this, that you found easier, or what would you consider the hardest to master, if you want, for lack of a better term? Or
they all have their difficulties, and yet, once you are playing an instrument well, like I began on trumpet in the 4th grade, just like Daniel did, and I changed to French horn in the 7th grade when they needed one, and then you become proficient on an instrument, and then when you change to other instruments, it is not easy, but you have kind of an idea of what to do.
Yeah.
And but I think the hardest instrument, as one of my colleagues when I was teaching used to always say, the hardest instrument is the one you don't practice.
Well,
Sure. So it becomes very difficult, but they all have their similarities, and reading music, but then the technique of actually playing an instrument, I'm still learning, and I've been doing this for 70 years almost, well, less than that.
Would you agree with that, Daniel?
Yeah, and I think that's a great point to say also that as a conductor, you aren't proficient in, you have to know enough about it to be able to talk about it and know what you can expect and what's possible in each instrument. But that's why it's a collaboration. And so
Yeah.
sometimes you'll talk to the bassoon player or afterward and say, you know, I would love to get that or this sort of color. Is that possible? And they'll give you some feedback. And when that sort of collaborative atmosphere is there, we've had some conversations too about the horn.
Yes.
I'm being a cellist, obviously. There can be some great moments of working together with that, especially when you might not know the ins and outs of every instrument. So.
Well, I would think it's in kind of a relation to being a coach, a sports coach or whatever it might be, is that you know, probably the best conductors out there, the best coaches out there, there's a collaborative effort with the musicians,
Definitely.
with the players,
Definitely.
because often they are much better at what they are doing
Exactly.
than the conductor or coach are.
Definitely.
You know,
Definitely.
they might have mastered this certain thing, and if you don't get feedback from them and work together, you know, the outcome is never going to be as great.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a help me help you sort of hopefully there, and what can I give you in my role to be able to help you be able to play your best.
So tell me about this production going on again. This is Monday on the 28th at 7:30 at Laguna Hills Community Center, and there's going to be a featured soloist, a pianist, Someng Jegal.
Someng Jegal, yeah.
And where's he from?
He's a native of Korea, but he is a colleague and friend of mine at USC. We both, he's both a collaborative pianist, a wonderful performer, and also a conductor as well, actually. And so we're in the choral department together, and so that's how I know him and asked him to do the Beethoven. Right.
Very good. I understand, Ken, we were talking that Tchaikovsky, there's going to be some pieces. And I know Tchaikovsky, I'm certainly not a musician, but just because of Fantasia from the movie.
Yes.
And so I probably know, you know, some of the theme in there. They're not doing any work from there, but tell me about some of the stuff that's going to be happening.
The Tchaikovsky is the Capriccio Italien. From what I understand, Tchaikovsky spent about 3 months in I believe it was Rome. Yes. And he was there during the Carnival, and
good time to be there.
yes,
right?
and he heard all these pieces of music
Yeah.
being played, and he just took some of the themes and put it in this wonderful piece of music that starts off with actually trumpets are playing a kind of like a morning bugle
Barracks.
call. Yeah.
Barracks, actually,
Yes,
nearby,
they were
apparently,
in the barracks right close to his
Yeah.
where he was staying, and incorporated all this into a fantastic piece of music. Goes from sublime to bombastic at the end.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful piece of music.
Yeah.
So
I
many
mean,
scenes and colors, and
Yes.
it's great.
Right. I mean, you know, hence the movie, because that's what you know, it was transformed and just to that, and that's what I think when I think of him. So how many pieces you're going to be doing here? As far as you mentioned, Beethoven and Tchaikovsky.
Yeah, so those two pieces. We'll start with the Tchaikovsky, kind of featuring the orchestra, the different sections. The Tchaikovsky itself has many different sections of that piece, and they each highlight different instruments in the orchestra. And after that, we'll be doing the Beethoven's first piano concerto. And that's into 3 movements and 3 sort of medium fast, a nice slow movement, shows the lyricism, a beautiful clarinet solo in that, and then it ends with a rousing fast movement at the end. So 2 pieces, but several sections to each of those pieces.
All right, and it runs, what, about an hour and a half or so?
The concert will be about an hour, with some
Okay.
time. I'll probably give some introductory remarks as well. So.
All right, and it's always, you know, a great event, and Valerie, of course, is going to be there. She's going to be playing violin, right, did you say? And, you know, what's great about this, there's no charge for this. It's right down the road, and it's really wonderful that she's able to put this on with the Global Harmony.
Definitely.
And I know it's done over the years in Moment Musicale and just the Pacific Symphony and all kinds of things, Disney and everything else, right? It's always fun to hear all the different things that she has done and how she brings together folks like you and does it for this community in this area.
Yeah, well, it's truly a community event, and I'm not from the area myself, but I always love being invited into this community, into this music-making community. And I always remind myself, even though it's a community orchestra and players with a wide range of backgrounds and
Yes.
abilities. They are all professional members of the community,
Yeah.
and they all are just have their own stories and expertises, and so it's very humbling actually to come and to lead the group. So it's been a joy to get to know people and talk and share refreshments at break, and it's been wonderful.
Very good. Well, gentlemen, thank you for coming on today. I really
you.
appreciate meeting you. Maybe I'll see you again.
Great.
Yes.
And again, this is happening on Monday, October 28th, over at Laguna Hills Community Center. It is free. It starts at 7:30. There's free parking over there, and just a wonderful event. I think you're going to really enjoy it. And thanks to the Global Harmony Symphony and Valerie Geller for this. And we'll be right back.